Chiquita. Are you out of breath? Dang it. I won't let you beat me. Hey! Wait for me!
They're pretty energetic today.
You're right. It hasn't even been a month yet. I'm glad they're not sulking.
I'm sure it would make her happy to see them being so full of energy.
I know, right?
The girls really liked her. She cared about them, too.
What was that noise?
Someone else is here.
Who's there?
Still afraid of everything, I see.
Karikaro, I think we can stand down.
Hi, how are you all doing? It's been a while, huh?
I'm glad to see you're doing well.
Charlotta?
What are you doing here? I thought you were going to sleep after Bendica became the new Dragon Star.
Well, I was, but I sensed you all approaching and I just decided to get up.
That was a quick nap.
Why did you give us that whole emotional speech about not seeing us ever again?
Who cares? Did you miss me or something?
Monet is so happy to see Charlie! Charlotta, please come with us! Karikaro is really happy deep down. She's always saying how it's so quiet without you. Isn't that right, Karikaro?
Hey! Stop telling people what I said!
Aw, that's cute. I didn't think it was going to be this easy for me to come out, actually. The Dragon Star's power is a lot more stable now, though, so I had the strength to do it.
I see. Well, I'm happy to see you.
Me too. I'm so glad to see you're doing well, Charlotta. Come on, Zeffy. You can pretend to be a little happier, you know.
Huh? I'm plenty happy.
Zeffy, aren't you a nice person? Don't you have something to say to her?
What? You don't think I'm nice anymore?
No, you're just standing there. It's weird.
It's okay, Faria. I still think he's nice.
I'm sorry for acting weird. I really am happy to see you again. We're gonna take some flowers for Bendica. Do you want to come with us?
Oh, of course. Let's go.
Lady, we've come to visit. How are you? I wonder if we should have brought you some meat instead of these silly flowers. I'm sure she would appreciate anything we bring to her. She's so kind. Monet thinks so too. I grew this flower just for you. We all love you so much. Thank you for giving us a future. I promise to become an amazing witch just like you. Please protect us.
Pio, Monet.
You two have matured so much.
Yeah. Wait, where's Chiquita? Oh, you're right. Where did she go?
I'm sure she's wandering around here somewhere. I'll go find her. There you are.
What do you want, Zeffy? Leave me alone. Or, do you want to explore with me? If you want to, you can be my servant for a week.
No, that's okay. Everyone was getting worried. Why don't you come play where everyone can watch you?
What? But someone's always watching me. The lady became a star. Baruda is in heaven. They're always watching after me. So I should be okay, right?
Chiquita.
That said, I'm going to continue my exploring. So... Hey!
What's wrong?
Look!
The stone moved. And there's a hidden path?
Maybe I triggered it somehow. I'm going to tell everyone! Karikaro! Monet! Pio!
Wow, you found an underground path.
Do you know about this, Charlotta?
Nope, not at all.
It seems to go very far. It looks like it was made very well, too.
Why don't we all go on a little adventure?
Really? Yay! Whoa. I'm a little scared. But excited, too. Come on, Lapo. Let's go.
Wait, we're taking the little sisters too?
What do you think, Manessa?
Huh? Are you planning on on leaving us behind.
Oh, listen to them. You'll let them come, right?
They're going to have to grow up sometime. Maybe it's good if they come.
You're starting to talk like Charlotta.
Yeah, we don't have to worry about the knights or the ravens. The only enemies we have left are the dragons. If Charlotta's with us, we'll be able to keep our little sisters safe while we fight the dragons.
It's just like when we fought Varnir. I think we'll be fine.
Okay, got it. Aren't you glad she's here?
You better stay close to us, okay?
Okay.
Finally, we can see the entrance.
Yeah, they made us walk so far. Huh? Hey, this building looks familiar.
Wait, is this a star temple?
Star Temple?
Oh, I see. I get it now. This is the East Star Temple.
East Star? I didn't know there was a fourth temple.
Yes, a long time ago, this was a place where we locked away dragons that couldn't be defeated or controlled. I totally forgot about this place. Who would have thought I would ever come back here?
If that's the case, why don't we turn back? We could seal the entrance too.
Wait, Zeffy. The Holy Empire used to use the Star Temples. There's a big chance some important documents about witches are in there. I would like to learn a little more about us. Please? Good thinking, Pio. That being said, let's continue our exploration.
But
Well, they've been locked away for a very long time. Maybe all the dragons ate each other and died off by now.
I see. Why don't we go check it out?
Yeah, and if it's too dangerous, we can turn back.
okay, if you say so.
Mommy is scared. Zeffy, will you hold my hand?
Sure.
Thank you. I hope we can find some new books. Woohoo! I'm excited! Let's go!
Pio is usually very level-headed, but I think her thirst for knowledge won this round. Chiquita can be so reckless. We're gonna have to be very careful.
And after that post-game intro cutscene, welcome back to part 29 of Dragonstar Varnir. Last time we finished the adventure. Bendika sacrificed herself to become the new Dragonstar so the world could be saved and the curse of the witches could cease to exist. Meaning they all get to live happy lives without a dragon exploding from them. The moment you enter post-game, you unlock access to Zeffy's room, which is a bit baffling since you play as Zeffy all game. It's only now you get access to his own room. I'm joking, he's always had his own room, you just haven't been able to access it from the menu. But from there you can access a diary, and you can ask Charlotta about her friend from the past, the one that she spoke about at the Forest of Death. We'll be doing both of those a little later on. They'll be the last things we'll be covering because they're more relaxed, and it's just reading a book essentially, 2 short stories. We have access to things like the final elixir if you want to build level 99 equipment, and you're going to be using that a lot to try and get some of the best equipment in the game. Even if it's a bit of a grind, because it's not that you get a level 99 piece of equipment each time. It's a chance of getting a level 99 equipment. It can give you anything from 1 to 99, which is kind of insane. So if you want the absolute best equipment in the game, you might be save stating or grinding a lot. That being said, we have an optional dungeon to explore, the 4th Secret Star Temple, the East Star, which is the biggest of the temples and most dangerous, as Charlotta alluded to, which I actually want to talk about. That opening cutscene to post-game, also we just got back attacked by an enemy we was facing, worked that one out. That scene where Charlotta gets reintroduced, it's like, yeah, I came back and whatnot, is exactly the same regardless of what character ending you get. So I kind of had to make my own headcanon of what I think happened was Charlotta came back first of all because she had one last thing left to do, right? And that was confessing her feelings to Zeffy. So they had their moment, they had their love revealed to each other, and then at some point, like because at the end, like Zeffy's like, oh, let's go hang with the rest of the crew, and Charlotte's like, well, hang on, let me write in my diary. Maybe she got the idea to surprise them later on, which would explain why Zeffy had such a nonchalant reaction to Charlotta coming back, because he already knew. Like, he just kind of played up to it a little bit, and that's why Zeffy was like Charlotta was like, nah, it's fine if he doesn't react, I still know he's nice. like just playing up to it a little bit, keeping it a little bit hidden. Because I can imagine they weren't about to just suddenly be like, oh hey, she's back, oh by the way, we're dating. I can imagine her just be a bit like, what, okay, sure. Which still makes me giddy thinking about it. Just something about how dark this game is, getting such a genuinely innocent and happy ending just makes me so happy. It's just such an enjoyable ending. If you watched my review I did for this game like a year ago, you know how much I love the ending of this game, because I went ridiculously giddy and overboard in that review, like the last couple minutes of it, because I just loved it so much. I kind of got carried away with it and just like, with it all. And I will be referring to them as a couple from this point onwards, even if it maybe isn't canon, because I don't care. It is in my mind, damn it. But this post-game dungeon, there is actual plot threads in here that will wrap up the last couple things that we haven't wrapped up yet. Which might surprise you, because if you reach the end of the game, it's like, oh well, yeah, that wrapped up everything, there was something we missed. That just shows you how poorly executed. I say poorly, that's not the right word for it. It was just the priorities were elsewhere, so the plot point got put to the sideline. Zephy's best friend from the Knights of Requiem, Gran. His side story was just kind of dropped after well, I think it was the Wilderness of Spells. The first Wilderness area. I don't think it was Atonement, I think it was Spells. Sounds like, what, chapter 5? I think? So that plot thread hasn't been picked up in ages. So you'd be forgiven for just forgetting about it, because Gran didn't show up once when we snuck into the castle. He didn't show up once when we were finding out about the Knights have rebelled. He just ceased to be a plot point after that wilderness bit. Like, he got mentioned a couple times, but that was it. So that's plot thread of how will Zephy and Gran's friendship continue now Zephy's with the enemy, who was never really done anything with, and so now they use the post game to fill in that blank. Which I still stand by as kind of an odd choice, because they'd had ample opportunity to go back on it. Like I said, when we were sneaking into the castle and bumped into Emperor Pharisaeus, we could have had Gran show up there. Even just for a little bit, like, to just spot them and kind of just let them get away sort of thing, or like hesitate or something like that. Or like, when they were back in the, like, I said, when the hunting of witches became outlawed instead of the witches being outlawed, they could have had Gran show up after we dealt with the commander. After we dealt with Corberia, they could have had Gran show up there as well, alongside Seirud. Which I still find it kind of odd that they call him Seirud, not Shrewd. Like, I feel like there was a real missed opportunity with the naming convention there, that they could have called him Shrewd. But, whatever. Maybe it's just because it translates to something in Japanese that I'm just missing. But every time I saw that, I'm just like, oh yes, right, Shrewd. Wait, is not? His name's Seirud? But the beauty of the East Star Temple is that it is the only Star Temple in the game that isn't tied to a time limit. And it's the one that's in post-game. But because it's not tied to any kind of time limit or anything, it's the first and only Star Temple you actually feel like you get to just relax and explore in. Which is great because it's the hardest one, so being able to take your time exploring it can then balance out the pressure of what you get from its raw challenge. Especially in the upper floor. Like most areas, there's 2 floors to this, and the other floor has rarer enemies. There's a dragon called Bahamut that you can find in here that will rock your shit if you are not ready for it, and it's a normal enemy. And yeah, the only reason I remember it is because its name's Bahamut, and I'm a Final Fantasy dude, so of course I remember its name. But I also remember Bahamut because Bahamut's tied to one of the more annoying Zuba quests. If you're trying to absolutely 100% this game, there's a couple of them that will start to annoy you. Which is why I'm not really bothering, because there's no real reward for doing them all. You just get rewarded for each individual one, sort of thing. And there's one for getting a rare drop from a Bahamut. And so, but the quest description is a little misleading, because it just says defeat the ultimate dragon that is Bahamut. But then when you go scroll over it, the condition doesn't say defeat dragon. It says get an item, and the item is something that it can only drop very rarely. so you're unlikely to get it on like the first 4 or 5 encounters.
Let's go.
And the fact that it's actually a pretty tough encounter, it's the toughest normal encounter you're going to get in here, makes it a little bit painful that you have to fight the thing so many times, potentially, assuming you don't get lucky, just to get that quest done. I'd say that most of the quests aren't too bad. There's 1 or 2. It's more that I just can't be bothered. Like, there's a bunch where it's like, get a specific item, weapon, or equipment at a specific grade, and that's just annoying. Like, you have to find what elixir it's tied to and what elixir it's referring to, and then make sure you have the right component to have the plus range it's asking for in there, and then make sure it's on the right person just to make it and maybe get it. But if it's a low-powered soul, most low-powered souls aren't weapon-specific. They can be weapon or armor, so you end up having to drop a save beforehand just on the off chance. There's our way upstairs, and you see I'm trying to get behind this thing, and it still keeps turning around. Like, there we go. If you get the Hydra.
Let's go.
I'd say something. I've been playing a lot of I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but Atelier Ryza, like in my spare time. I know I'm gonna end up dropping it again because it's the game I can't seem to ever get around to finishing. I enjoy it, but I keep on just every time I go to play it, something else pops up. Oh, here's a rare enemy, by the way. Even despite its size, it is a rare type, and that's why it's running away from you, because it will try and escape the fight as soon as possible when you get into it with it. If you're desperate to get a hold of one, or desperate to get a hold of any rare enemies, a strategy you can use, which I do actually use at one point during this, is try and get into a fight with a rare enemy where a normal enemy is with it, and then ignore the normal enemy, only prioritize the rare one. Because if the rare one runs away from the fight, instead of fighting the other enemy, escape. Run away from the fight, because it will reset the encounter. So you can run away from it, the enemy won't despawn, and then you can immediately just re-engage the fight by swinging at them again. And you can just keep on trying until you get it. But you just have to get lucky enough that a normal enemy is with that fight as well. Which, like I said, I do get a little later on, so I kind of show off what I mean. I think I cut until I get it, which maybe you won't, but we'll see. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. Atelier Ryza. I've been trying to get back into it again, and I enjoy it, and so I do want to. But every single time I've picked it up, something else has come out that I want to play more. That's made me put it down. And then it's like 4 months later, I'm like, oh yeah, right, that game. And it's going to happen again, because I've picked it up again in my spare time playing this, and then Death End 2 is going to comes out on the 28th, and could potentially arrive literally any day. Because this is ordering from the Idea Factory store, and if you've ever ordered from the Idea Factory store, you're almost guaranteed to get it early, because it's just they send it out as soon as it's ready to be sent out. They don't bother like putting in a mandated date, or if it can only arrive on a set date. It will just come. It will just come along and be like, hi, here you go.
This looks handy.
But playing Atelier Ryza, it's throwing me off because I'm used to this game giving you a symbol when you're close enough to swing at an enemy, so you don't have to worry about accidentally running into their hitbox. Which I know they do that because the enemy hitbox is usually bigger than them, so you can run into them accidentally. Here's Bahamut, by the way. So it's to stop you from just running into it accidentally. But in Atelier Ryza, no such symbol exists.
Get ready.
Of course, I immediately tried. This thing's level 91, I might add.
My turn.
But because Atelier Ryza doesn't do it, I keep on actually just running straight into enemies because I keep on expecting it to show up. I managed to get a Devour pretty quick on it, and look how much experience it drops, and it drops God Boots, which is a nice piece of equipment at this stage. Admittedly, as per usual, at the moment, once you're on the other side of, I'd say, the Forest of Death, the equipment you're likely to be maining isn't going to be the equipment you're finding, it's the equipment you're making from elixirs, because it's just going to be better. You play your cards right, you can make some extremely overpowered stuff in this game. Because you get another Platinum Soul to add to that. Missed it. I think I cut that. Yeah, I did. I cut that encounter anyway. I should have just cut on the first swing, just saved the hassle. Oh well.
I wonder if this is useful.
But I will get that game finished at some point. Now, especially now it's getting a sequel too. I should probably do it, which kind of doesn't surprise me. The game actually is like, I think, the best-selling Atelier game out there, and it's like the only one I've enjoyed because it feels like it's actually got a budget when you're playing it. Like you can feel that there's scale and effort put into it. Whilst all the rest, saying they feel cheap is probably the wrong way to do it. Also, there's 2 stairways here, so I can't turn back the other way.
It doesn't hurt anymore.
Not 2 stairways, there's 2 main paths, and I went down the right one first, which I never want to do. Supreme Ruler recipe. You're going to get a lot of recipes that you might sit there and go, well, they're not the final elixir, level 99. But keep in mind the final elixir can also give you equipment from any range from level 1 to 99. So having these other ones that can be between 95 to 98 might be preferable because they are definite 95 to 98s. Because the final elixir is only if you're going for the best equipment in the game you want to get it. But if you're not that fussed and you just want some really strong stuff to help pull you through the game's 2 super bosses, one of which is at the end of this dungeon, the other we have to return to, you're gonna want the most powerful stuff you can handle to really feel like you'll stand a chance, especially the second of the 2. The second of the 2 sucks, just putting it out there. It's a brutal fight that takes a lot of effort to do, and the Fecker just heals itself, and it has the best healing spell in the game, so it will fully heal itself. Because there is a healing spell in the game that is a percentage based heal, and it's 100%, but only on one character. And so when a boss has it, that's evil, and the fact that you can't get rid of it in any sense of the word is just more intolerable. But we won't be fighting that thing today. Both the super bosses aren't today, they're tomorrow, assuming nothing happens in my upload schedule that I can't upload tomorrow. Because in total the post game is going to be 3 videos. The first one is just this, exploring out the East Star Temple. The next one is the optional bosses, and then the third one is the last missing pieces. Just the odd few things we haven't covered, ignoring the Madness playthrough. Like, that's the big thing, like the Madness playthrough is a completely different beast, we'll be doing it at a different time. So as far as I'm concerned with this main project, this first run will be finished by the end of this week. Oh, this is me hard pushing to try and get it because it's the same thing again, super rare. It does you do like 0 damage to it though, which sucks. So if you're trying to get the catch on it, you really are just relying on trying to get lucky with the eater. And it runs away. And so we get our 0 and everything. That jump was in frustration. That jump was frustration. That was me thinking, god damn it, I didn't get it on one person. But the final video of the 3, similar to the very last video I did for Death End Request, where that was just covering the very last few things I hadn't covered, it's going to be an extremely short video, so to bulk it out a little bit, I will be playing the credits again and talking over it just to give my final thoughts on everything there is. Because I've already kind of done that, but it's just to kind of wrap up the entire playthrough. I'll play it again. I was half tempted to play the ending again, but I was like, nah. I'll edit in my favourite line. I've decided to edit in Charlotta's confession right in the end, at the last little tidbit of it at the very end. It's just her confessing. But that's it, because I was like, I can't justify playing the whole ending again. As much as I love it, it'd be a bit of a stupid ask for the audience, where if you guys care enough, you'll just watch the end of the main adventure finale again. Or, you know, play the game yourself, which please do.
I'm taking it. It doesn't hurt anymore.
I don't just do these playthroughs just to talk about my favourite stuff. I do it in the vain hope that at least 1 or 2 of you will say, oh yeah, that game does look alright, and give it a go. Yeah, because I have nothing but love for this game. I am critical of some parts of it, but I am a firm believer of the more you love something, the more you should be prepared to criticise it, because otherwise how the hell are you ever expecting it to grow? And that's why despite me constantly saying, oh, I love this game, there's been a lot of moments where I've been like, yeah, I'm not big keen on that though, or I wish they did that better. Like the big one always being, I wish they had more budget, because I do. I genuinely wish they had more budget for this, because this game is so much promise, and there's so much going on. But there's also so much that happens that you don't really get to see or experience that much, despite the fact they do happen. Solely because they didn't have the budget to fully realise it. Because I would love for them to have done more. I'd love for this game to have gotten DLC. Death End Request got 2 DLC dungeons. This game's only DLC was increasing the level cap to 999 and some basic item stuff. Not even alternate costumes. Which really surprised me, because Idea Factory, Compile Heart, GJRPG, all of them love their alternate costumes. And the fact this game didn't get any is always baffling to me. It didn't get any PlayStation themes, which was also a pretty common thing for literally every Compile Heart published game, and it still is. This game felt like it was kind of just thrown out. Which really sucks, because it's such a good game, and it felt like it just didn't have the budget. Maybe it didn't do that well in Japan or something, so when it was coming to the West, they were just like, ah, fuck it, and just kind of threw it out without expecting much. But it feels like this game really just got put to the wayside when it was a really solid experience, and it's like I said, it's in my top 5 this generation.
I'll take that.
I rate this to the same level as I do games like Devil May Cry 5, Neptunia Veer, Bloodborne. All of them are in my top 5 bubble of games. I genuinely have so much love for this game, and I just think it's a shame because not only did it not get the budget, but because it didn't get any real advertisement, didn't get any exposure, it was kind of thrown out there. I'm willing to bet it will never get a sequel. I'm willing to bet it will never get a sequel. It will never get the grounds to work off a sequel. And even if they did, I can imagine it'll be sort of like the second NEP, where it'll be like a sort of half reboot, where they'll just reimagine parts of the story threads. I think, in an ideal world, I've mentioned this before, I'd love the sequel to directly carry on, but just be a few years later on. And I think now's actually a good time to talk about it, because the main story's done, so I can talk about what plot threads I want them to base them off, etc, etc. Firstly, make a canon relationship, make Zephy Charlotta canon, because I think their relationship is very symbolic of Zephy's parents' relationship, and I think it just makes the most sense canonically that they would end up together. Regardless of Vanessa being poster-girl, I just don't think she's that kind of person, and I don't think it would work in that sense. Maybe it would, maybe you disagree, but it's just how I feel. It wouldn't work with Carrie Caro, because look at Carrie Caro's attitude. She's learning to become more reliant on the people she cares about, and instead of just making them be only reliant on her. But that's as far as that needs to go with that plot thread, I think. And then everyone else, I don't know, it's just more of a personal thing that I just don't think it would work. Like when I watched their endings, I was just a bit like, it doesn't really click with me. I think I'd only accept Feria if it was based years later, when she's older. I'll have to come back to it, I didn't realise there was a cutscene. We've come pretty far, but I think we still have a bit to go. Yeah. Everyone okay? Tired at all? We're okay. As long as you're protecting us, we'll be okay. Let's keep going! Alright, as long as you're all okay. Huh? Could it be? I knew it. Hey, what's that, a medal? No, it's not a medal, it's a brooch embossed with the emblem of the Knights of Requiem. Every knight wore one. What? But this entrance was sealed until we opened it, right? Right, so why would this brooch be here? We haven't seen them in the forest at all, but I wonder if they're still active. Ever since Dan retired, we're not really sure if the Empire or the Knights are active at all. If someone from the Knights got here before we did, the chance of them surviving is honestly pretty low. Let's keep moving. I wonder where that plot thread's gonna go. But anyway, back on topic, what I want from the sequel. Don't call it Dragonstar Varnir 2. Call it Dragonstar Bendica. Yeah, it might be spoilers for this game, but wouldn't that be a really clever title for a sequel? Think about it. If the sequel is just called Dragonstar Bendica, that's a really smart title, because Varnir's dead. So why should it be called Dragonstar Varnir 2? Bendica's the new Dragonstar. Call it Dragonstar Bendica, so the player knows it is based after the original. Come on, guys, that's a brilliant idea. You know it is. So make it based a few years, not too many. Like I'm thinking like 3 or 4 years later, where the cast is a little bit older. You can tell they're a bit more settled in. And the main reason being, I want the 3 kids to just still have their innocence and still have their charm of their character, but be old enough to be justifiable as playable characters. And then make the story more focused on those 3 as the main cast, because the 6 of this game have had their story. So having it be the 3 kids exploring kind of the new reborn world, now their witching lives aren't going to be doomed, sort of thing. They're not born to die. They actually get to explore, and it's them stumbling through adventures, and then something happens. I'm just being vague because I don't know. I'm no story writer here. I write books, not game stories. But have something happen that requires them eventually to say, look, we can't do this on our own, and go get a hold of the original cast. So then you can introduce the original cast a little later on, and they can be justifiably a higher level because they're introduced later, but at the same time not be ridiculously OP because they haven't had to fight for like 3 or 4 years.
Let's go.
Well, I think that would make a good justifiable sense in the gameplay premise as well, why they wouldn't all be level 99, and you wouldn't start with them being level 99. You just have them be a little lower because it's, well, they join late, so they just match the level of what the current cast are when they get there, and it's a few years later, so they're not at their prime anymore. They've lost practice, as Zephy got wrecked by that fight apparently. Like, I think it would be a really good idea. The main thing for me though is that they'd have to have a dedicated main villain, and I already kind of know how they'd set that up. Well, what would be the easiest to set it up? Have someone who still has a grudge against the witches. Have it someone who disagrees with them being outlawed and refuses to believe the new truth about the dragon stars. Well, the real truth about the dragon stars and how the dragons are the source of the planet, and so witches should be cared for, not attacked. Have someone who's just been like an outcast of it, who's developed this vile hatred and then starts actively hunting them down and setting up like these bandit camps almost. And then your journey, instead of being the Star Temples, would be to hunt out these bandit camps and eventually get to this main villain who gets narrowly too close to Bendika, so you have to defend him from defend Bendika against this evil who's, I don't know, found some way to become super powerful. Maybe the plot twist is that he's like half witch himself, like Zephyr. And he gets this dragonic power and like loses himself because he's so broken away that instead of becoming mad the old-fashioned way that the witches have, he just went insane of his own accord with nothing to do with anything else and became super powerful through a dragonic form or something, and he becomes the final boss. Or she, if they want to make it a villainess. I'm not too fussed either way. Like, come on, like, hire me, Idea Factory. I'd write this for you. I would. I would love for it to be a sequel, and I'd love for it to kind of go that way. Have Zephyr Charlotta canon, make it more focused on the 3 kids, them being a little older. Have something to that extent of a plot going. Like, I have other ideas, but they're more far-fetched, like having outside sources be influenced or things like that. Or the fact that during the final boss fight, we were pulled into a spirit plane, and they don't really elaborate on it. Like, Charlotte's just like, well, this is the spirit plane, here's Varnir, let's go. In a sequel, they could do more with that. They could have you, like, exploring the spirit plane and having all these bizarre secrets and mysteries that lead you to different places across the universe, maybe. Which might be a bit of a leap, because this game tries to keep to a semi-medieval theming, and if the sequel's suddenly planet hopping, it might feel a bit weird. Also, I don't know how I got back attack there either.
I'll take that.
But,
Pretty cool.
I'm just throwing ideas out there at this point. I just don't want this game to be forgotten about. I don't want this to be a one and done. And I'm 99% certain it's gonna be, which kind of hurts because I love this game so goddamn much. The fact that I'm almost immediately prepared to do a second playthrough to do the Madness path, it kind of speaks for itself, because I, as a rule, don't do JRPGs, the same game as that's a turn-based JRPG, back to back on itself, because it tires you out. But I'd happily do it with this game because I just love it unapologetically. I could literally play this for the rest of my naturals and still love it. And so I hope it doesn't just get forgotten about. I was vaguely hoping that when it got released on Steam, that it would get a little bit more groundwork for itself after that, and it sort of did. Like, I heard it sold reasonably well on Steam, but that was about it. Like, I didn't really hear anyone talk about it afterwards or go any further. It just kind of stopped there, which once again is just still kind of a shame. But anyway, we're at the end of this video, so next time on Dragon Star Varnir, we got some optional bosses to take down, waiting right in front of us. But until then, you guys take care now.
Leave it to... Let's escape.